Hey everybody, Laney here at Drum Percussion Studio. So, we're going to go ahead and jump straight on into this. What I'm going to be talking about today are some extended techniques that you can try, not extended techniques, some different variations that you can try to continue to build your comfortability and your coordination within the context of the 16th note grid. So, I've already done one video on the 16th note grid that you can go ahead and check out where we're talking about double strokes and we're talking about some other variations that you can try. What we're going to be talking about in this particular video, we're going to be talking about flams, and we're also going to be talking about some stick control, and then I'm going to introduce a concept called a Hereta, and that's going to be used within a different sticking, all within the template of the 16th note grid. So, like I said in the last video, Jason has put together some awesome videos explaining how the 16th note grid works. I would recommend that you check those out before you go any further. Again, I'm just going to be showing you the A section. It's up to you to go ahead and apply these concepts to the B and the C sections as well, just so that you can get more comfortable with the 16th note grid in general. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump straight on in. So the first variation that we're going to talk about today are flams. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding a flam note on every accent within this 16th note grid, okay? Now, that is obviously going to cause some issues within my sticking, right? A lot of these are going to be requiring me to do double left hands or double right hands. So, make sure that you are practicing your flams before you jump into just trying to do the 16th note grid with flams, okay? So, just a review, flam is where you're playing two notes at the same time, right? One note is higher than the other, makes a fat sound. Flam equals fat sound, all right? Now, here's what we're going to be doing with the 16th note grid. Every time the accent falls, your flam is going to happen. So, if I'm just going to work on the first partial, I'm going to put everything on the beat. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Okay? Super easy. Now, the thing that this is going to really focus on is your stick control and the different stroke types, okay? So, you've got 4 different stroke types within snare drumming, okay? Within percussion, really, in general. Legato stroke, okay, where you're dropping, or a rebound stroke, where you're dropping and the stick is coming right back to where it started, okay? A downstroke, an upstroke, and then a tap stroke, okay? This exercise is going to use all of those because there are going to be several times where you're having to play upstrokes to get ready for the next flam, and also downstrokes to be playing the unaccented tap notes correctly. So, I'm going to show this to you very quickly. Quarter note equals 70. Make sure you've got your metronome on 16th notes so that you're consistent with your subdivision, okay? Here's how the A section, the 16th note grid would sound with those flams. 1, 2, and here I go. And now again, I didn't draw in the flams for each one of these, but you get the idea. Essentially, every time that accent is happening, my other hand is also going to be playing, and that so that I can have a flam, okay? Now, the flam is going to move around. Within the second and the fourth, your flam is going to fall on the left hand. So you have to make sure that your left hand flams are just as solid as your right hand flams. This is a great exercise to work on that, okay? This is literally going back and forth between right and left-handed flams. So, be sure to check that out. Again, if you need work on your flams, if you need work on consistency within your rhythm, this is going to be a great way to go. Okay, so that was a very, very quick review on 16th note grid using flams. Okay, the next one that I'm going to talk about, we're going to change things up completely. Now, this next variation is going to have to do with stick control. Now, I've talked a lot about stick control in some of my other videos as well. It's a very important element of snare drum, well, really percussion in general, drumming in general. So, stick control being, you know exactly where an accented note needs to go, and you know exactly how many notes you need to play in a row, and you have control over the stick for all of those, okay? So, here's how we're going to apply stick control with this grid. I'm going to play, you see I'm writing in all of my stickings as right hands. Here's how this is going to work. My right hand is going to be playing legato strokes, okay? Starting and stopping at the same place. okay? My left hand is going to be playing tap strokes. Your right hand is going to play all of the accents. Your left hand is going to play all of the taps. So your left hand has to have the chops to be able to get through multiple notes in a row. You're going to have them at least 3 times in a row every single time you play. So let me demonstrate that for you really quickly. Quarter note equals 70 again, just like with the flams. So it's going to sound like this. 1 and 2 and here I go and 1 E and 2. Oh, see, I messed up. Got to make sure that you're doing rebound strokes. I wanted to do a downstroke because that's what I'm used to doing with the 16th note grid. Let's try it again. 1, 2 and here we go and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 4 E and stop. Okay, you can go ahead and put an accent or a tap stroke on your left hand for if you're separating the sections. However, if you're starting to put them together, you will notice that you'll have a double right whenever you're playing the A to B and the B to C section. So the point with this being, you need to make sure that those left hands are super consistent and they're super even. Okay, so making sure that you can play just 16th notes. Taps. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and okay? That's going to be the best way to build up your control with that left hand. Now you can also play this off the left. If I wanted to play all the accents as left hands and have my right hand do the unaccented notes, that's totally acceptable. 1, 2, and here I go. And 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and stop. Okay? Etc. etc. So make sure you're practicing it off the right and the left hand. I'm going to go ahead and play that for you on the snare drum. You'll hear probably some inconsistencies in my sound, just because whenever you have the next partial coming up, you're actually going to have 4 16th notes in a row. So it's almost like your left hand gets into a rhythm of, okay, I've got these 3 notes in a row happening, and then as soon as it gets comfortable, boom, you've got to make sure that you're playing 4 in a row. So be sure that you're mentally on top of it when you're playing through the different partials. Here we go. I'm going to play it off the right hand. 1 and 2 and here I go. And 1 E and so that's the A section of the 16th note grid with stick control. Okay. Again, stick control is a super important thing, so I would really encourage you to check this out both on the right hand and on the left hand. Okay. Now, last thing we're going to do within this advanced variations of 16th note grid is we're going to talk about something called a Hereta. Now, this is really common. I first came across these in marching band snare drumming, but basically what you're doing is you're taking a 16th note, a doubled 16th note, and you're single stroking it out to make a fast 3 little flourish. Kind of like William Tell, right? So, within the context of this grid, what we're doing today, we are going to basically be taking the accents, you're going to be playing them as double strokes, but instead of doubling the sticking, you're going to be playing as single sticking. So it's like doubled single sticking, I guess you could say. Or, the way I've written it here is as 30-second notes, okay? Now, I'm not going to count my 30-second notes just because they are so quick. I'm just going to go, okay? Feel free to think about, whenever I count 30-second notes, I really just think about whatever 16th note they're lining up on, and I just know that I need to make sure that my 2 notes are evenly spaced there, okay? So that's a great way to think about it. Okay, so I'm going to play through just the first partial. So this would be equivalent to the first line, okay, from the last whiteboard, okay? So it's going to go, okay, single 30-second notes. Now, important, make sure that those notes are all evenly dynamics. Wow, that was bad. All even dynamics, okay? You don't want one note to be accented and another note to not be accented. Make sure that they are all equal, okay? Now, I'm going to play through this entire thing for you, just so you can hear what it sounds like. And again, I would encourage you to try this out with the B sections and the C sections as well, just because it's going to really help your internal tempo. All right, I'll play it on the pad first, then I'll play it on the snare. 1 and 2, and here I go. And now on the snare drum. 1, 2, and here I go. Now, one thing that I did not talk about that's going to be very, very important, you will notice that whenever you have these Heretas, you're making groupings of 5. So the right hand will not always play within that first permutation. The right hand is not going to play all of the beginnings of those Heretas. It's going to alternate every single beat. So just make sure that you're aware of that. Okay, that's all I've got for you on this video. Be sure to check out the other grid application video as well, and happy practicing.